I'm the rap game's financial advisor. Dropping beats that'll make you go higher. I got an 808 with metal undertones. Gonna school you about crypto, make you take loans. Stacking stacks, yeah, that's the goal. Investing in crypto, watch it all unfold. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and more. I'm diversifying portfolios like never before. Cryptocurrency got the game in a frenzy. Financial literacy, that's the key to plenty. I'm spitting knowledge, making moves that count. Turning stacks into millions, no doubt.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Reckless Rated Arrow, and we're back at it again with another episode of Crypto Portfolio Updates. We're going to jump right into it. But first and foremost, if you guys haven't tapped that like button or the dislike button, it's very early, but I understand. People go both ways. Do that. Also, if you haven't shared the video, definitely share it, because we're not trying to get rich over here by ourselves in the wolf pack. Also, are you subscribed? If you're not subscribed, you need to subscribe. I take all of the feedback. Obviously, those of you who've been leaving comments down there, and I appreciate those of you who are filtering over to the new channel, the new platform, what we're going, all bag talk all the time. I appreciate that. Definitely taking some feedback in the comments for sure, now that my videos aren't getting shadow banned, like the general public's coming in and getting to see it. And yeah, we're gonna be acting upon it. I thought we were going to have the new intros done before this video, but again, when you're not rich yet and not just sitting around recording videos all the time, like, content creation is not a job for me. This is very much a hobby. This is very much a documentation of my journey to $1 million, and part of that, as a future financial strategy, is heavily involved in crypto. So let me bring this forward a little bit, turn a little bit. There we go. Get that better angle. So after this next slew of episodes, which is like one more episode, we should have a new intro video. We've been recording some B-reel. I'm gonna play around with that. And yeah, we're gonna keep working. We're gonna keep doing the work. We're gonna keep playing the game, doing the things. So one of the pieces of feedback that I've gotten so far is that people want a shorter intro. We're going to make the intro shorter because I'll be listening and I'll be acting on it. So we're going to jump right into it. First and foremost, we got to give a shout out to Delta Investment Tracker app. There's a link down in the description. I don't get anything for that link, but they are a sponsor of the show and the platform, and something that I do use personally to track my crypto portfolio. And you should too. It also is really good for tracking your TradFi portfolio. I just like it because on the Pro feature, one of my favorite things on the Pro feature, even though it's kind of annoying sometimes because some of the plays don't make sense until they make sense, but it gives you a good call, bad call on your portfolio. And I find it very interesting. It's something that I've gamified ever since the crypto markets crashed. Like, basically all my calls have been bad, but I think by next year, everything should be good. I think everything's going to be back on that good to bad decision ratio is going to climb as we get further into going into 2025. So I really enjoy it. You guys want to take a look at it. It lets them know that you found it via good old Reckless Rated Arrow and Future Financial Strategies. Like I said, I don't get anything for that, but there's a bunch of goodies down in the comments in the description section. So some of the stuff that I use, I got a tools of the trade section if you guys want to get involved on that. Any news articles that are referenced during any of my videos or any of the content on this platform, there's a section for that. If I give a shout out or talk trash about a content creator, I do tag them. So, we're not scared to have a conversation over here. And, I consider myself a pretty good debater, and I really don't say stuff about people without like some form of receipt or an opinion that is counter to what their opinion is. So, and we're getting ready to bring back the live streams. So once we get the day solidified on that, we'll have a platform where y'all can come back and we can have a conversation. So we're going to jump into it. I'm going to bring to the screen what we got going on here. I'm going to take myself off the screen so that way you guys can get the full view. Bitcoin is well up today. Well up. We are sitting at $69,800.26 or $826.37. My bad. Bitcoin dominance is at 55.8%. Shout outs to CoinGecko. That's where we get all these metrics from if you're not watching. Ethereum dominance is at 12.5%. Bitcoin is a vacuum that is sucking up all the energy in the crypto space right now. Does that mean that there's not stuff going on within the crypto space? Absolutely not. We've got some moves that are being made within the crypto space. We're going to talk about it. Gas fees on Ethereum are at 10.7 Gwei. Now, I did a trade the other day. Did some buying. We're going to talk about that as we get into the portfolio. But it was like $3. Actually, no. After it was all said and done, they projected it at $3.76, but it was like $2 and I think it was like 74 cents or something like that. Maybe $7. It was 70 something cents, which is wonderful. It is wonderful. I like it when the buying end is low. I wish I had more stuff sitting on the Ethereum chain that I needed to buy, but we're buying up a position. We're going to talk about it here in a little bit, but first we're going to talk about these trending coins as per CoinGecko. This is what people are looking up, what's got some momentum or some energy behind it. So let's talk about it. First one, we've got Grass. Okay. Second one, we've got Godius Max. Oh, geez. I actually saw a little excerpt about this coin. Oh, Lord. Meme season is here almost. Then last but not least, we have TARS AI. This reminds me of it's very, like, I look at all these ones that have to specify that it's an AI coin. Very 90s .com era where everything was .com. People were just making shell companies and taking them public with .com in it. And then it was, honestly, the 90s were the original meme coins with the .com, where you just put any business .com. And it basically, if it was traded on the public market, people were scooping it up, running up unrealistic valuations. Lots of money was getting moved from people who knew about the markets to people, or from people who didn't know anything about the markets that were trying to get rich tomorrow to people that knew about the markets that were making their money off those people. And we're not doing that over here in the Wolfpack, so I will not be getting into TARS AI or Godius Maximus. That's such a funny name. Moving on to the next part. We've got the top 5 gainers and losers. See what's going on in the market, what kind of numbers we've got. Now, last week we had some big numbers up here for the number 1 spot. We've got some decent numbers up here for the number 1 spot. I mean, I'm not turning my nose up at a 83% gain in 24 hours, but it's looking pretty sideways. Got some pretty big dump offs, some dips on the losing side. Nothing major. I mean, everything's under 50%. So, sideways, just waiting for it to happen. What I am noticing is there's a lot of meme coins. You guys are out here gambling. You're trying to get rich tomorrow, and I'm not mad at you. When I got into the market for the first time 11 years ago, I wanted to get rich tomorrow too. We didn't have meme coins though, because I would have had a much worse experience had we had all this. And that's something I'm fortunate for. But we are not chasing those meme coin gains this year. No. So let's go ahead and get into it. At number 1, we have it ranked 915, the Balkan Dwarf, with a gain of 83.3%. At number 2, we have at rank 879, we have Forest, with a gain of 67.1% in the last 24 hours. At number 3, we have at 910 Santos FC Fan Token, with a gain of 65.2% in the last 24 hours. At number 4, we have Higher at rank 691 with a gain of 65.2%. in the last 20, or no, higher, has a gain of 55.8 in the last 24 hours. And last but not least, number 5, Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, at rank 586 with a gain of 47.8% in the last 24 hours. That's a funny one. Moving on to the top losers. Hope none of you guys are on this list. Hope everybody's on the other list. Hope you guys are making money. Hope we're making moves forward on all of our individual journeys in this financial market. Crypto moves fast. Crypto is a savage place. It takes no prisoners. So let's go ahead. With that said, let's jump over into the top losers. At number 1, at rank 886, AI16Z, with a loss of 41.3% in the last 24 hours. At number 2, we have at rank 490, Wolfie, WUFI, with a loss of 29.4%. At number 3, we have at rank 305, Luna by Virtuals, with a loss of 27.6%. At number 4, we have at rank 445, we have Goldfinch, with a loss of 18.8%. And then last but not least, at number 5, we have at rank 899, Penumbra, with a loss of 10.8%. Now, before we go jump over into the portfolio, let's give some updates on that. As of right now, the portfolio is up 1% on the last 24 hours. Notable, because of the run-up, we are now only down 7.1% total, which is under the 13% that we were at last week, which is awesome. That's given us some forward motion. We're going to pull it up to the screen now. And we're jumping in here. We're going to get through the holdings, and then we'll talk about the moves that were made. And then I'm going to break down why I believe you've got roughly 60 days to get your crypto positions and affairs in order, because it's about to get wild. Now, at number 1, remember, we're leaving off the Lido staked Ether and the USDC because those are unimportant to those following, because Lido staked Ether is what we're converting everything into at the end of the crypto bull run. When we start peaking out, we're going to start diversifying and dollar cost averaging out of positions that we have that have run up into the Lido staked Ether position. I understand Ether doesn't have a lot of energy right now, but our goal, secondary goal, after getting 1 Bitcoin was to get 32 Ether. I wish I would have got the 32 Ether way earlier because it's real expensive now. That position in and of itself actually might be more than the Bitcoin position, at least if for the leaps and bounds we're going to make towards getting into that position this year. But yeah, we leave those off because the other tokens are ones that I've actually purchased this year, so a little bit different. So Solana is number 1, SOL. Number 2, we have Injective, INJ. Number 3, we have Ethereum, ETH. Number 4, we have Radium, RAY. Number 5, we have Superverse, SUPER. Number 6, we have Thorwallet, DEX, TGT. Number 7, we have Jupiter, Perpetual Liquidity Provider Token. That's a mouthful. JLP. Number 8, we have Camelot Token, GRAIL. And number 9, we have Wrapped Bitcoin, WBTC. And at number 10, we have Akash Network, AKT. Now, as we know, we've been putting in that work, getting ourselves in position in regards to the, as I would put it, the position sizes. We had like a handful of altcoins that we wanted to have at least $1,000 position in. So we're currently working towards that. So the current buys that we're making are all in Immutable X. We are pretty close. I think next buy-in, provided we don't have some sort of run-up, will be putting Immutable X into that position, and then that might also be in the top 10. I think this wrapped Bitcoin position, as Bitcoin runs, is going to jump itself up into spots that it previously wasn't. I'm fine with it. here for it. Then after that, we also have Celestia to make sure that we get that up into the $1,000 range. Again, this portfolio was built back in more or less August was when we started redeploying, or actually it was December, because we normally break the portfolio down at the end of the year during the bear market and convert it over to whatever we're trying to massively acquire. This one we started converting over. This is the second deployment of it. If you go to the main channel, Reckless Ray Dinero, at Reckless Ray Dinero, that is on there under the crypto section. There's a couple of different playlists that I have over there that are the origin story for the portfolio that we're currently working with. This is less than 50% of my crypto portfolio. This is just what I'm active in the market with. Everything else is in cold storage. It goes into cold storage. And, you know, every year moving forward, we're going to be popping in. I've got a referral link down there. I am a Ledger affiliate. I don't talk about that enough, but every year when we do this, we will be pumping out another ledger that's going to hold whatever the longs for that year are, because now we've gotten to the point where the ledgers are running things over. And I don't believe in keeping all of your crypto in one basket. So what I do personally, and what I've started to implement, especially now that we're doing the Bitcoin standard, because I'm going to want to have my Bitcoin split up for every year for the Bitcoin standard, which for those of you who are not familiar, Bitcoin standard, and I will be doing a video on this as well on how I implement it specific for this channel, where I take a little bit more time and break that down. But the gist of it is, as income comes in, a certain percentage of that goes into Bitcoin, no matter what. Something's getting put in there. And like we're getting into some points now to where we're getting some pretty hefty buys, which I am all for. And yeah, I don't want to have that all sitting in one crypto wallet. So for redundancy and safety purposes, we'll start separating them out. And I think what we're going to do is probably in year chunks, but we'll see, because this year's Bitcoin standard, I think at the end of this year, the Bitcoin that we have in the Bitcoin standard is going to be utilized to acquire some more Ethereum to help push that Ethereum position, because that's also a long-term hold. Because I've already, and the reason being, and this is the only reason being, I've already hit my Bitcoin allocation for the long term, to be honest. I have not hit that Ethereum allocation. I have hit the allocation that I would like to have for my Chainlink. So out of those three coins, the only one that's the long pole in the tent right now is Ethereum. And like when you're having to get like, you know, another 10 Ethereum, another 15 Ethereum, another 10, I'd say 10 plus Ethereum. Honestly, getting 5 Ethereum for a lot of people is a pain. Like it's going to be a grind. Some of you getting to 1 Ethereum is going to be a grind. And I can empathize and I understand that. But I've got a lot of Ethereum that I still need to acquire that's supposed to go into that original ledger. So most likely I will be working to get that Ethereum amount in there, so that way I can have some flexibility should I want to, if I want to stake it, like if I can figure out how to set up a node myself without having to stake in one of the platforms, because platforms honestly are centralized, but the whole premise of the Ethereum position is to get 32 Ethereum so that I can stake within my ledger, and that way it'll trickle its way up. Like it'll keep adding a little bit of Ethereum, a little bit of passive income in that long-term holding portfolio. The ledger never touches the internet. It stays offline. Stuff just goes in it. Nothing comes out. And yeah, that's going to be the retirement ledger. Like we won't be touching that likely for a while. I'm planning on being out of the workforce well before retirement age, but like that's the furthest out layer of wealth that I am strategically putting in place. I've got a 3-tiered plan, if you would, in regards to that. And I'll make a video on that. I'm actually going to make a note. 3-tiered plan. Okay. Now, other coins that we're going to be looking at. So currently we're working on the Immutable X position. That's a GameFi position. I do believe in GameFi. That's the reason Superverse, which is doing very well, has jumped up to number 5. Great. Really excited about that. Immutable X is another gaming one. Akash Network is my AI play, also partially gaming. And then below that, I've got Celestia. That was one of the golden ones. I'm actually going to be taking my Thorchain Rune. I will be getting a position in that as well because I use that all the time. It's my preferred. It's not my preferred hot wallet. It's my preferred first stop for all my crypto because it does cross-chain transactions, and it's the only one that I've found so far that's reliable in converting Bitcoin into Ethereum so that I can get it into the ecosystem, into the DeFi space. So your on-ramp, you have to use something, and I prefer to use as few things as possible. So if I can just get Bitcoin, go straight into the wallet, exchange in the wallet, turn Bitcoin into Ethereum, and then go into the DeFi space to do what I need to do. Like once you get into Ethereum, you're good to go. It's getting there that's been consistently a problem. And like Thorchain has solved that for me. I think everyone should know about it. I think everyone should, who's in the DeFi space, like if you don't know about Thorchain or you're not using that, then I don't know what to tell you. Like that's kind of wild to me. But yeah, so now we're going to talk about, hold on, let me come back to the screen. Boom. Come back to the screen. So now we're going to talk about why I believe you have 60 days left to get into your crypto positions. The main reason being for me, and this is just going to be my breakdown, like my assessment, what I'm thinking. Because I've been here before. And while this isn't exactly the same, and I've said this from the get-go, I was like, this is way different than last time. I don't know what the bear, my questions honestly are, what are the bear markets going to look like? Because I've got my portfolios tied to crypto, and like I've been thinking, I was like, oh yeah, I'll switch over to other stuff when the bear market rolls around. But I'm like, I'm looking at the prices that stuff is at now. And I'm like, even if it spikes up and comes down to a spot that's above where we are right now, I would rather hold those positions. Because like over on the portfolio tracker line, you guys know that I'm very into high yield dividends, but the high yield dividends that I'm currently working on, the positions in the portfolio that I'm building, heavily crypto related. We've got representation for Bitcoin in there. We've got representation being MicroStrategy, MSTY, high yield dividend. Just got the biggest payouts. You guys saw that short. We making money. Like we getting paid now. That eclipsed a check. Now I just need to double it. So we've got MicroStrategy in there. We've got I'm currently doing a hedge against Bitcoin, specifically Coinbase, because I'm not going to hedge against MicroStrategy because that would be insane. But there's a little bit of play on the opposite end for Coinbase because that stock specifically functions a little bit weird. MicroStrategy is just hockey sticking its way on up. Like it's one of the first stocks that I've seen because I've also started buying MicroStrategy, and I'm gonna do a video on that. That's already in the hopper. But MicroStrategy is one of the first stocks, and I've done a couple of stock splits. My Nvidia stock split, busted on it. Shouldn't have bought it off the bat. It's killed the momentum on the stock. Stock's still going up. Stock still is doing well. I'm still going to be buying into it, but like it definitely went down before it started going back up. Like now it's up. It's over the split price, but it did some real weird stuff in the process. MicroStrategy did a stock split and was immediately expensive again as far as like from the split price. Cause like I figured on that one after the other stock splits that I've been through, all of them took months to recover. MicroStrategy took maybe a month to recover. Like it is no joke. Like people are scooping it up. Like people know something. And it's Bitcoin related. So like basically you get a little bit of a benefit because they actually have a business that has an income. Like there's also that, but they also have a bunch of Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin does well, they do well plus a little bit extra. And I love that. Also, big fan of Michael Saylor. Not not a Sailor worshiper or nothing, but like he says some stuff that I don't agree with all the time, but his leadership and what he's done with his company from a strategic perspective, and I am really in on the financial strategy. Like I see what that man is doing, and it is genius. And he was the first to do it, and he is being rewarded. He's got first mover advantage on it. His company has outperformed every company in the S&P 500. And they're just growing exponentially. So, we're trying to get on that train as well. But they're buying Bitcoin. BlackRock's buying Bitcoin. Lots of big institutions are coming into the space and buying Bitcoin. And the reason that I am telling you that you've got 60 days is because once this starts going, I honestly think that it might be less than 60 days. Like this is the first time we've had so much positive news for Bitcoin. And it's not just gone parabolic. Like it's forcing its way up in spite of the way that they're trying to continue to manipulate the market, because there's too many big players that are trying to buy it. There's too many rich people. Now that it's in the ETFs, now it has the ability to be in your pension. Now it has the ability to be in the 401k. There's too many people buying the Bitcoin, and there's just not enough Bitcoin to go around. There really isn't enough Bitcoin for everyone to have a whole one, which is why I think it's hilarious when people talk about, oh, it's expensive, I don't want to buy a fraction of a Bitcoin because I can't get a whole one. You were never going to get a whole one to begin with. There was never supposed to be a space where there was enough Bitcoin for everyone to even have one. All that was there for you, all that your allocation actually was a fraction of a Bitcoin. And then you have people who moved first. I mean, there's people that moved before me that have hundreds of Bitcoin, thousands of Bitcoin, hundreds of Bitcoin, tens of Bitcoin, fives of Bitcoin. I managed to eke my way through and get one. And fortunately for me, getting that one took a lot of work. It was a year's worth of work. And when they talk about people getting lucky with the crypto space, buying Bitcoin is the most boring thing that people do within the space. Like, it's hard. There's so many distractions. There's so many other coins. There's altcoins. There's a coin with a picture of a dog that you might get 500,000. You could be rich tomorrow if it goes up 10x, right? So while it is easy to say, oh, you should just buy Bitcoin, it's way harder once you're in the space, once you have that Coinbase account, once you have that Gemini account, once you have that Binance account, to start buying Bitcoin when there's all this other action going other places, and Bitcoin doesn't move in the big chunks that once Bitcoin moves 5%, the rest of the market goes up 30%. But over the long haul, like the wealth accumulation and the wealth preservation that you get with Bitcoin completely overshadows everything else. Because it's like during a window of time they do well, which is the Bitcoin bull run. And then after that, everything is garbage but Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'm not even throwing Chainlink on there. And Chainlink is a long position for me because it's useful. It gets used. But it doesn't, I can't say that it's like, the long-term performance on this has been super great. Like, that's my smallest position in my long-term portfolio, but I know it's being used. I know it's necessary in the space, especially during this window of time while it's developing. And I know what its use case is, and I'm familiar with the project. So I'm willing to hold it. I'm like, it's going to keep going up. It's during the bull run, it's going to outperform stuff. After the bull run, it's going to crash harder than everything else, than the other stuff in my portfolio. And my stabilizers, obviously Bitcoin, but Ethereum's also been a stabilizer. It hasn't really jumped off a cliff the way that other coins jump off a cliff because it's the most used blockchain. They got the Ethereum Alliance behind it. Look it up. Everyone's building on that. Everything has to connect to Ethereum. Ethereum is the hub as it sits right now, and until that narrative changes, even though Solana for the bull run is my number one pick for the bull run because of the potential upside, and as far as having a big upside and less risk, Solana is an easy one. I know when I'm planning on getting out. I know when I'm going to start dollar cost averaging out into my Ethereum position. It's not a long yet. It could be. It depends on how its performance does, but I'm gonna be watching it. Like I will be on house money with a good sum of profit off of it, and I'm pretty sure I can hit the numbers that I want to hit. I'm pretty sure it can hit it during the bull run, but on the other side of the bull run, I am not sure what the bear market is going to look like, because if a bunch of money is flooded in, it's like, okay, so when we normally jump off a cliff and Bitcoin goes down 60%, are we going back down 60%? I mean, depending on where we land, like if we hit, let me get my calculator. So hypothetically, if we peak out at $250,000 a coin for Bitcoin this year, 50 times 0.06 equals okay. So if we go up to $250,000 and have a 60% dive, that means that the new low for Bitcoin is $100,000. I mean, that's a 60% cliff for Bitcoin, which would, I mean, honestly, that could happen. I could see that happening, because like previous bull runs, like we've crashed harder and bounced back, like whatever. But if we take a 60% dive, that means we go from $250,000 to $100,000 of Bitcoin. And then people will say that it's over, Bitcoin's going to zero, and then it'll stabilize, maybe dip down into the 80s. We're not going to be seeing the 60s again. Most likely we won't see 50s. Definitely won't be seeing 40s. I got a homie out there who's waiting to see 30s. Not happening. That's delusional. But if we don't only come back down to $100,000, I mean, that's still gonna be awesome. If the new low is $100,000, I mean, that's gonna, a lot of people are just gonna be barred out of the market at that point. Like there's just only so, like, which is unfortunate, because this was made to give people an opportunity to stabilize their wealth, preserve their wealth, build their wealth. And you know, all the people that are sitting around asking if we're rich yet, or if we're going to be doing, like, it's going to be like, okay, cool. They while they're missing an opportunity and being egotistical about it, and it's like, okay, like that's also fine. And we have a saying for that. It's called "have fun staying poor." And I think people can do that. Like, you can do whatever you want. These are decisions at this point. My job is to tell as many of you as possible that you got 60 days. You got 60 days. Like, everyone should have Bitcoin. Oh, are you going to be buying as it's going up through the bull run? Absolutely. I have a Bitcoin standard. Whenever I get paid, I buy some Bitcoin. That doesn't change. Whenever any money comes into my house, some Bitcoin is purchased, because that's for later. I look at it as a 401k. That's the way that I look at it. I'm like, I'm not touching that till way later. Is what it is. And one of the things that makes this different is because that's no different than what I've been doing. I've been dollar cost averaging for over a decade. The difference is now you have institutions that are doing the same thing. You have MicroStrategy that's just gobbling up Bitcoin, taking out loans to get more chunks of Bitcoin faster. And, you know, we might do a video about how you could potentially institute a Bitcoin strategy within your own household. Like, that could be pretty interesting. Like in a MicroStrategy kind of way. But, you know, like, with all these people buying, there just isn't enough to go around. And I think at some point it's not going to be surprising, because we only have access to 10% of the circulating supply of Bitcoin, which means that the majority of Bitcoin, 90% of it, is held by people. Like, people have it and they're not selling it. They're like me. They just buy it, goes into cold storage. They don't sell it. They don't trade it off. You also have companies that are doing the same thing. They're not selling. You also have hedge funds doing the same thing. They're not selling. They're complaining about BlackRock buying up all the houses. They're also trying to buy up all the Bitcoin. So at a certain point, when Bitcoin becomes so scarce, when all these people come flooding back in, and I think once we cross that 6-figure mark, I mean, honestly, I could see people starting to get a little antsy and sweaty after we cross 80. Because right now the current high is 70, it's what, 73,000? Once we hit 80, once we hit 90, once we hit 6 figures, like people are going to be panicking into the market. And then those people who are going to be panicking in are the ones that are going to be buying Bitcoin at the peak or driving the Bitcoin up past a peak or buying it on the way up. Now, me personally, as long as it's available to get at, I'm going to keep my Bitcoin standard going. But I've already got over a Bitcoin stashed away. Like, I'm good. I'm set. Once that supply shock hits for the exchanges, that's when we're gonna see some real fireworks happening, because then it's gonna gridlock the purchase of Bitcoin. Then once people can't get a hold of Bitcoin, they're gonna go into altcoins. Honestly, a lot of people will come in when Bitcoin is at 90, 80, 90, 100 as the mania starts, and they're gonna come in, they're gonna see how expensive Bitcoin is, and they're gonna immediately go to the altcoins with whatever money they have, which is going to drive those prices up. Now, the altcoins, depending on which one it is, won't be seeing the same supply shock because there's just so many of those coins made, and they make them in way higher volumes. But Ethereum could very well see a supply shock as well, because now hedge funds are buying that as well. Now you got BlackRock buying that. So that, I mean, and how long is it going to be until people go, okay, so like, the MicroStrategy Bitcoin play was a thing. How long until somebody does an Ethereum play where they just start leveraging to buy Ethereum? Because Ethereum, you have some options with those tokens. You can actually make passive income with that. So not only do you have the price appreciation, you also have passive income. Plus, since it's the most used blockchain, it's normally running at a deficit. So even though more coins are being minted via staking, more coins are being burned than are being created, plus people aren't selling them. So now you have a scenario where you could end up in the same spot with where Bitcoin is, where it's like coins are being created, but like so many are being burned from people just using the chain, building stuff on it, doing stuff within the ecosystem, that now you're also causing a supply shock on that. So Ethereum has an opportunity to really get parabolic as well. Like there could be a supply crunch on that. Granted, historically speaking, Ethereum also does generally outperform Bitcoin by an order of magnitude. Another kicker for the people who are, coming in, like Bitcoin's not expensive, or Ethereum doesn't even look remotely expensive in comparison to Bitcoin. Like that might be an easier segue in with something that's not going to just crash to zero. Not financial advice, but just saying, like, if you look at the charts, like Ethereum goes up and down, it tracks Bitcoin, it does a little bit better. It doesn't do as good as some of the lower market capped altcoins, which is why Solana is my number one. It's got a lot of energy behind it, and it's poised to drastically outperform Ethereum. So I can convert that and get more Ethereum out of the deal when it's all said and done in the wash. But that's what I'm saying. It's about decisions. And if you're in the cryptocurrency space, it moves fast. And as I've said before, it is ruthless and it is unforgiving. The boring stuff normally is where you're going to find easy wins. And I tell people, make sure you get some easy wins. Get some easy wins. Get yourself 10 Solana. Get an easy win. Get yourself an Ethereum. Get one Ethereum. Get yourself some Bitcoin and don't sell it. Like, geez Louise. Like when I understand you got to sell it to be richer. You don't actually have money. Well, like, I mean, when your inflation is destroying your buying power and everything's getting cheaper in Bitcoin, just wait a little bit longer. Because in Bitcoin, it gets cheaper. I convert to fiat when I need to spend it, but everything's getting cheaper in Bitcoin over the long run. Historically speaking, we got 15 years of data. Obviously, as that adds on, actually 16 years almost now. But as those years add on and Bitcoin's price goes up, stuff is getting cheaper in Bitcoin. So like, I don't utilize it for stuff. I understand that people are gonna have their fun based on what their value sets are. I just think that with the way the economy is going and the way that our world is shaping out, your value system should probably be looking a little bit more forward. Especially, I mean, I understand crypto is considered the fast money market, but solidifying some of that so that way later on down the road you've got something to show for it. That's all I'm saying. And we're gonna dive out on that. Oh, hold up, what can I do with this? Oh, that's cool. Interesting. Okay. Oh, you can circle it. I don't like the circle though. I like this one. I like the one that I was on. Boop. There we go. And then, yeah, I like that. Oh, hold up a second. That's not me either. There we go. That's the one that I like. I don't like that one either. This one. Oh, it's the colors. I gotcha. Okay, hold up a second. I gotta put this back to how it was. Booyah, we branded. Okay. Boop. Bubble. There we go. Oh, and they took away my rounded corners. Yeah, there we go. So, until next week, first and foremost, if you guys made it this far in the show, this is an open conversation, so we can have the conversation down in the comments. What positions are you guys looking at as far as what you're trying to get solidified before this 60 days is up, before we get into the banana zone, as they say, before things get crazy? What positions are you guys looking to get into? I'm really interested to hear and talk about what positions we're getting into, what people are thinking. What are your top 3 cryptos you're holding? I want to know what it is, and I want to know why Bitcoin's one of them. I'm going to get some of you guys fired up about that one. But yeah, until next time, this has been another episode of Crypto Portfolio Updates. It's your boy, Reckless Ray Dinero, and I am out. We'll see you. Peace.
Money moves, gotta hustle, gotta grind. In this game, no room for the blind. Crypto's the wave, the key to the grind. Transfer that wealth, it's time to climb. Blockchain buzzing, time to make a move. Invest in the future, can't afford to lose. Learn the game, gotta play it right. On the right side, we take it flight. Punch the clock, working hard day and night. Gotta stay focused, keep that mind tight. Crypto, wealth transfer, we want it all. Rise to the top, never hit a wall. Never hit a wall.